Hey everybody, happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
Another week has come and gone, and we've been super busy. I know all of you guys have. It's definitely, that time of year. Weather for us here has been hot today, but really the last 4 or 5 days has been really cool, in the 70s and 80s, and so it's allowed us to do all kinds of stuff.
It's been kind of rainy, overcast.
Yeah, but everything's full. All the water tanks are full, all the water storage is full, the ponds are full. So I am definitely not complaining in any stretch. So it's been really good from that perspective. I had a chance to put up some more firewood, which is good. We've been processing a
Put up
lot.
more food.
Yep, I'll show you guys lots of pictures of that. What else? We had the elections. I'll talk a little bit about that.
Yep.
We have tomorrow. We have our monthly community meeting, which will be pretty cool. And then Sunday we have a community lunch, which that'll be cool. I think that's about it.
Your mom has more kittens.
Oh my goodness. My mom,
taking some time.
and bless her, she traps all the stray cats that she can trap, and then
Yeah.
tries to give them homes, and
They
she's
do
pretty good
the
at it.
trap, neuter, release
Yeah.
program. But if she can find them homes, then she does, and then
Yeah. Anyway, let's get some hellos, and I want to start with Kent. Happy Friday, Tag and B, and our fellow Freedom Fighter family. Welcome to another great evening sharing together our regular scheduled unprogramming get together. Go back to the top here. Dana Green was the first one in. I like this comment. She says, I'll probably drag you out with me as I water. I have speakers. Everyone else is getting rain, but not East Texas. But on the other hand, my peppers are kicking.
nice.
And good for you. Our peppers have not done well this
They
year.
have not done well.
No, but I know why. But do you know why, B? Do you have any idea? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. RN, welcome in. Carrie Davis, hello. I'm Buddy Silver Lining. How are you?
That's a bird.
That was a big old bird. Let's see here. Got that one. Lisa says, yay, the first rain above a trace that I've had in a month. I got 0.9 inches this morning. Well, congratulations. We've had nothing but rain. And what's crazy is Lisa and I don't live but 2.5 hours apart, so it's not like it's very far. You know how that works.
Yeah, but it can be raining.
I know.
On one side of the
But
property.
it's just interesting. We've had 5 straight days of rain.
Yeah.
You
We've
think
had quite a bit.
yeah, you think they got some of that. I think I said hello to Nitos. If not Nitos, hello. Gratitude to Grace. Welcome in. How's Grace? How's Dig Dug? Jane Marie, good to see you. Harry Kent Hempworth, East Tennessee representatives, Kent and Paul in attendance. Thanks for getting an EMP resistance evaluation of our 15K. Here, I'll just put that comment up. This is a good comment. Thanks for getting an EMP resistance evaluation of our 15 kilowatt Homestead solar battery off-grid system. So, give you guys a little bit of background. Kent had contacted me maybe a month and a half ago or 2 months ago, whatever it was, and asked me some questions. I said I would get the message on to the engineers. I still can't tell you whether or not I actually did that, but we didn't get a message back. He followed up with me. I got back on the phone. I called one of the engineers at EMP Shield, connected Harry with them, and they got to have a good conversation about everything engineering. And so anyway, that's what that's about. And I hope it helped, Harry. Let's see here. My buddy Indiana Mike, what's up, dude? Redneck, another buddy. Good to see you. Another buddy, Pete Squatchy. What is going on?
Another buddy.
Another buddy. It says, would you bring the microphone closer? Okay, well, let's try that. Is that better?
Hello. Testing.
Yep. Let me see how. I might be able to actually turn it up as well. Let's see here. Hello. That seems to be not very good on my end. See here, hello, maybe? It seems like I always have these problems. Hello.
Well, do you change the settings?
Yeah, I put it back on default. But I'll bet you that'd work better. Let's try that. It's amazing what happens. Oh, let's see here. Where are we at? Lisa, I brought the microphone closer. I hope that's better.
Is that any better?
Yep. Oh, don't get me started about feral stray cats. Yeah. And the greatest name on the internet.
Half Bubble Plum.
Howdy, howdy. Gotcha says, awesome because we are all getting older and hard to hear. Laugh out loud. Yeah, everybody says that's much better. I just cranked the volume up. But I've got the microphone right here. So it's not, shouldn't go anywhere. Hey, my buddy Sharpshooter. What's up, man? Are you ready to pour concrete yet or what? Let me know. Yeah, that's better. Jane Marie, hello, hello. Starla, good to see you. I'm glad everybody that's better, and I think I'm caught up for at least.
Yeah, just so you turned it up.
Yeah, I just turned up the volume. Well, first I went through the process of testing it, and it wasn't testing very well, and so then I
It's amazing.
turned up the volume, right? Look at all that. Me and my volume issues, you know. What do you got on your list today?
Microphone. Let's go through this.
Anything exciting on your list?
Just pictures.
Pictures, where's your list?
I don't have a list. I brought a notebook
Guys, you
so that I can take a note. I sent you all the pictures. You know what I've done. I sent you pictures.
Did you guys see how she played that off right there? Like that's some high level skill shit right there. Right, totally played off. I asked her what she had on her list, and she
opened her notebook.
Opened her book to like she's miraculously going to find something on that list.
No, this
and then
take notes.
I let it follow through, and pretty quick she's in a corner, and she's like, "Oh shit, there ain't nothing on there."
Oh no,
and then she played it off the rest of the way. That was pretty cool. Anyway, the king himself, Jeff Juicy Hefty Lefty Amazon Mud Dugger Slick,
Phyllis
is also in the house. Good to see you, Your Highness. I did not put any high heels on you this time, just so you know. Which is good, right? All right. Well, we voted.
Yes.
So this is a big deal. In our election, there was a lot of things we were voting on. From a community perspective, what we voted on, we won. I think mainly, which is pretty cool. On the statewide stuff, on the federal level stuff, I don't know that anybody wins. You know, at the end of the day, I have such a hard time believing that our votes even matter in reference to, you know, federal elections and even to some degree state elections. But I still do believe we can make lots of difference locally. And so, you know, I'd really encourage all you guys to get out there and vote, not because of the federal elections, not because of necessarily even the state elections, but definitely because of those local elections for, you know, county commissioners and tax hikes and, you know, things like that. There was basically two main things from a community perspective that we got to vote on, three main things. But two really only pertain to our county. One was they wanted to increase our sales tax. Hey, Mark Baldwin, what's up, buddy? I got a lot of buds in here tonight. Anyway, they wanted to raise our sales tax, and they have already planned on raising our mill levy, which is going to raise our property taxes, and our homeowners tax. You know, the value of our homes is going to go up. So what they proposed is that tax plus the mill levy tax plus a sales tax, and it got voted down by a wide margin in our county, which I was very excited to see. You know, there's a lot of debate about this, about, well, if we increase the sales tax, that means that people from other counties are paying part of the bill, right? Because people come through, they buy gas, they buy, you know, whatever they buy. And in fact, one of the commissioners actually sent me a text message and said that he was disappointed that I wasn't going to support it because I put out a very public post, like I do often, in the local pages about how I felt. And I told him that I did exactly what I said I was going to do, which is I'm pro raising sales tax in lieu of property tax. I am not pro of adding sales tax on top of property tax, on top of all of those other things. So anyway, it did not pass, which is good. Yeah, Mark says voted no on taxes. Yep. They've got to learn how to manage their budget. They need to learn how to live within their means, and we're gonna force them to do it one way or the other. You know, I hope that they can just everybody buckle in and everybody take some cuts, and just like I have to. You know, my buying power today, guys, is nowhere near what it was 5 years ago. My income hasn't gone down. My buying power has dramatically gone down. You know, and you know, I've paid myself from, you know, my company. I've paid myself the exact same salary for 8 straight years, and so I've had no raises. Right. But yet my buying power is again dramatically different. Another one we had that affected us directly was, let me see, I got a flyer on it. Was vote. Okay, yeah. So we voted in Kansas on a constitutional amendment. So right now, our Supreme Court justices in Kansas are chosen by a committee that's basically made up of the governor and a bunch of lawyers. And so they basically get to pick who our Supreme Court justices are. And, what I don't like about that is those lawyers are not elected people. Not a big fan of that. Also, the no vote, which was, not to change the Constitution, leave it the way it is, where the attorneys do it, won by a huge margin. And it absolutely blows me away because it has so many far-reaching impacts. One of these things is our schools. Our school budgets have just exploded, but there's no way to stop it because of the Supreme Court that we have. They want our schools what they call fully funded. I mean, we have schools that are losing many students and yet still increasing the amount of money they spend, but there's nothing we can really do about it. It's actually kind of unfortunate because our county commissioners get the brunt of it. About 40% of property tax dollars goes to your schools, and so that's automatically off the table. And then there's the rest is divided between other places, the sheriff's department, the fire department, all kinds of other things like that. But anyway, so the no vote passed. Let me see here. Indiana says they will get their revenue regardless. Sales tax versus property tax, it's just a shell game. I couldn't agree more. The thing is, if we do it on a property tax, it's locked in for 6 years. If we do, as far as a sales tax, 10 years. I think this one was 10 years. If we lock it in as a property tax, then next year we get to try to make another change. So we'll see, right? Dana Green, welcome in. Let's see here. Tag, what are they doing with all the extra money they get through extra taxes? Yeah, so what they like to claim is it's about roads and those kind of things. And that's true. That's some of it for sure. But each department just continues to get bigger and bigger and bigger. When I first moved here, even just 6 or 7 years ago when I started building this farm out here, you didn't need a permit for hardly anything. And now all of a sudden they want a permit on every single building you build, regardless of what it is, and some permits are free, but it doesn't matter. Once you're permitted, now it's on the tax roll. And so government just continues to grow, but they do this on purpose, guys. As long as government continues to grow, they get to continue justifying it. And so our challenge in our small communities, and our challenge for all of you guys out there, is go out there with the mission of shrinking your local government. And that should be our primary focus, because every new resolution, every new piece of paper, every new employee, all of that is labor costs. All of that's machine costs. Yep. And those machine costs, have to be caught up and made somewhere. So anyway, the no vote won by, in my county, there were 1,727 votes for no, 1,444 for yes. But statewide, it passed by a huge margin. The county sales tax was actually, it was a margin, but a little bit closer. No's to raise the sales tax was 1618, and yes was 1557. And these are the unofficial results because they haven't released the official results. But anyway, let's see here. Mark says they waste it so they can keep asking for more endless growth. Yeah, well, this gets into that whole idea, Mark, that our whole system's built on this perpetual growth thing. It's a big Ponzi scheme, so it has to grow all the time. It has to get bigger all the time. Stan Gunther, welcome in. Mary Michelle, welcome in. Here's the depressing part of both of these, and then I'll get to the third one, which is also important, is that there were 620,000 ballots cast in the Kansas primary election. We're talking about a constitutional amendment, right? It's up there. And I thought for sure that this for sure would bring people out to the ballot box. But only 31% of Kansans voted on August the 4th.
Wow.
So that means 70%. That means 7 out of every 10 people you run into could have cared less. We're too busy. It didn't matter to them.
70%.
70%.
Let that sink in. 70%.
Yeah, didn't even vote. Now, I know this is a primary, so it's not usually as it is attended, but there was a constitutional amendment on it, right? Which is part of the reason they probably put the constitutional amendment on there. Furthermore, the no vote was backed by Planned Parenthood, George Soros, all of them. The yes vote was backed by the Koch brothers and all of them. So both sides were being, funded by big money. The no vote spent $9.6 million on this particular issue, and the yes vote spent about $3 million. So between them all, about $12 million on this particular constitutional amendment. Well, guess where that $12 million comes from, guys? Any ideas? You! That's right. That all comes from you. Yep, gotta love it. Let's see here. Half Bubble Plum said they are wanting to impose stormwater tax in rural areas with dirt roads, but it's their crew that doesn't crown the road. They level it, and the road is below the ditches, so it can't get to drain. Yeah, right. And this is again now they want that money so that they can get the roads crowned properly. Mark says exactly, because fiat currency has no stored value. 100%. We'll be cool. Welcome in. No lives complete.
Boy, is that a pack rat?
That's a fact. Instigator tells me the purpose of government is to waste money. Yeah, never forget, guys. Ever, ever, ever forget. Your local government produces nothing. It produces absolutely nothing. All it does is extract. Now, it's a necessary evil in a lot of places, but it don't have to be like it is today. So the third item that was out there for us to vote for, we had kind of a weird thing happen. I'd never talked about it publicly until today, because we were going through the election and it was just weird. But so in my county, we have what's called townships, and I'm sure most of your counties out there have them. In each township, there's a precinct person or two. And the way my county works is there's a precinct man and a precinct woman for each township. So this is a job nobody really wants, and it's really hard to fill the jobs. But all of a sudden this year, there was super amount of interest. And what we found out was the vast majority of the people that had the super interest were somehow tied to the sheriff's department, whether that was a detective, a spouse, whatever it was. Somehow that was tied there. So what does a precinct member do, right? Because this will probably help just a little bit. So basically, the really only big thing that they will do is in the case that an elected official, so a county commissioner, a county attorney, a sheriff, decides to resign, retires, or is kicked out, whatever it is, they would be the one to appoint the replacement.
Solely
Until the next election. So let's just play this hypothetically. So the sheriff decides he wants to retire, served a long time, life's good, in, let's say, January. Okay, so what that means is for the rest of that year until we get to, and actually it'd be a year, 2 years, because we're going to do it here, and then it'll be 2 years. Yeah, so for 2 years, somebody will serve as the sheriff of the county, which will be appointed by the precinct members, right? Which happened to be what they were trying to do is have a lot of them tied to the sheriff's department. We found out about this fairly late in the gig, but and I'm not suggesting there was anything nefarious, guys. All I'm saying is that's off a lot.
That's just weird.
So,
things that make you go,
Yeah. Whisper Creek says it produces a lot of headaches for me. What? Taxes, voting, there's a lot of things. Yeah. What? So anyway, this is basically all of the precincts in my area, and basically how it turned out.
How many precincts are there?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
I thought maybe you just blew off the top of your head.
14.
Okay, so 14.
Hey, RN, good night to you. 14. So, and basically there's 2 in each one of those, right? So you got 28.
Okay. Basically
that would get elected. And so there was a lot of people very friendly to freedom that got elected. And there was a lot of people, let me see here, things that make you go, channeling Charlie Brown. Yeah, things that make you go, Instigator. We came out of it just fine. Some of those people were elected, many of them were not, and so it's at least will be a fair vote if something comes up. So I would say that we came out of that okay. Hey, one step closer, welcome in. So anyway, those are the big ones. The other ones that we had were like the governor and some of those things, but again, those are at levels that really may or may not affect us, right? So I'm not going to get any detail about them, but we had 3 big ones for us. Our next big issue will be in November, which will be the actual election. Let me get rid of this here real quick. It will be the election, the main election, and
the election.
The election, and we'll be electing a governor, because what we were voting for now was in the primaries. But also there's another constitutional amendment about having about changing the Kansas Constitution to say you have to have an ID to vote. And it's going to be crazy to watch how they spin that's a bad idea. I can't wait. I'll share the ads and stuff with you guys between now and November the 4th. We're also going to be electing a county commissioner in our county. We have 3 county commissioners in our county, and one of them's up for election. And the guy that's running, I'm going to help a lot. Very pro freedom, very pro minded, and I'm excited to see if we can get him in there. We shall see, though, right? I don't think there's anything else real big. Those would be my big 2 ones that I'm interested in. Nito says, "Oh my, we only have 3 precincts." Yeah, we have 14 townships, 28 precinct positions. And you know what's crazy? I live in a county of 13,000 people. You know,
And what, you think that that's a lot or a little?
that's a little. That's a little. I mean, so like the county next to me has. I was just doing this earlier because I was working on a talk I've got to give. So the little county about the same size next to us has 28,000 people compared to our 13,000. We're about the same size. You know, but so we're actually
Interesting.
pretty small county. The county directly north of us has 10,000 people in it. So it'll be a little bit smaller. But anyway. So, what did you think about all that, babe?
Definitely when it doesn't make sense is probably
Because you don't
probably something else.
Yeah,
Like because you don't know all the facts.
you don't know the motive.
You don't know the motive.
Mm-hmm.
Seems odd. So
Yeah, Mark says population small, land area is not. Hey, my buddy Dan Redding's in the house. What's up, dude? So, but anyway, guys, you got to get out and vote. And I'm not going to sit here and make any argument about voting for president matters or any of those matters. But what I do know is the local, 0.04% tax increase, right, matters. And who's making decisions for your county matters. And what the budgets are matters.
well, some of those were they won by like 18 votes or something. So it's like 18 votes. If we just had 18 or 19 more votes.
And we had a guy lose by 9 votes. Someone that was very pro freedom.
Oh, it was 9?
9 votes. Yep. Dan says, I just saw this headline. Trump announces 180 million in grants for mining industry. They announced that today. I didn't put it live. I didn't do much reading on it, but I would absolutely reach out. But Dan, I will tell you this. Because he announced $180 million in grants, the first grant might get issued 5 years from now. If it doesn't get taken away along the way. And ask me how I know this, right? But anyway, let's see here. One Step Closer says there have been people elected to the city council of Dallas with less than 1,200 votes. Dallas. Yeah, we get more than that. I mean, I'll bet you when we elect a commissioner, he'll probably get 2,000 votes, probably 2,200, which is that's still 20% of a county. Right. So, yeah, Mark says grants aren't guaranteed. No, and the government moves so slow. Good news is not everything has to move
You know
slow.
about that.
Right? Some things get to move quick. Right?
Speedy
There you go.
Gonzalez. Oh,
Now,
yeah.
so you know, I did not give B big muscular arms today. Those are her natural arms. Okay, so what are you doing in your picture?
More cilantro, coriander.
Yeah.
Just some putting it in a jar. I think I had to find. I didn't end up putting it in a bigger jar. Now I have 2 half-gallon jars of coriander.
Did it fill the?
It was down just a
little bit.
1.5 inches, 2 inches maybe.
Hypocrisy says government moves slow. Needs a laxative. Yes, it does.
Slow.
It needed a laxative for a lot of years. So then you went from that to this.
Tomatoes. More tomatoes.
Yeah.
Getting ready to process some of them.
Yeah, they're coming on, starting to come on hard now, right?
This was everything.
Yeah, but from what period of time? Because you just harvested tomatoes.
A week.
That's a week worth of tomatoes,
right? This is 1 week, yeah.
Yeah. So.
And this boils down to, well, I guess depends on what you're doing with it. This batch is going to ketchup. Ketchup.
Hey Frank, what's going on? Good to see you.
And I had filled this 21 quart canner all the way full, and then still continued to squeeze 2 or 3
So did you make ketchup out of all of it?
Yeah. Well, yes, this time. This week's
batch. Because that's like a couple years of ketchup, right?
No.
That's a lot of
I got
ketchup.
15 jars.
Babe, that's a lot of ketchup.
I know. I like me some ketchup. I like me some French fries.
Yeah, B uses a thing called a squeezo strainer. I know many of you guys know it. And what it does is it spits out the sauce on one side. And if you look on the picture to the right, it spits out the peels and the seeds on the other,
Correct.
right?
Yeah.
And
It's like the juice and the pulp and the
right,
one side.
yeah, it comes out the other side. But the good news is that the pulp is not wasted,
Not this week.
right?
This week I put it into the dehydrator because Pippin was here and she reminded me to do that.
Yeah. So then, what do you do with it?
I'm going to grind it up for like tomato powder,
Just so you can thicken things.
thicken it.
So you can thicken things.
Yeah,
So you'll
Is that-
dehydrate these. You'll grind them up as a thickener,
thickener.
right?
Yep.
Does
You
it
can
thick?
add it to soups and stews. You can use it as
Does-
a
Does it thicken anything?
sure.
Anything?
Yeah, like water stuff, watery soups and stews and stuff like that.
Okay.
Or I can put it back into the next batch of tomato whatever to, you like that salsa thick and chunky. Maybe I can put that powder back into a batch of salsa.
Instigator says you can add tomato powder to bread when you're making the dough for sun-dried
Ooh.
tomato bread.
That would be delicious.
You know what would be better than that? Regular bread.
Sourdough.
Oh yeah, that too. I've been trying to
I need a yeah.
get on B about getting me some sourdough bread because she made all that elderberry jam, and I really want to eat some.
Now he wants some sourdough bread to go with
Yeah,
it.
well, guys, there's a few
That's
things
not
that's
something I
better.
can just whip up, buddy.
The best bread with jam is sourdough.
I'm a fan of sourdough
Yeah.
with
So
all kinds of sandwiches, even.
homemade ketchup, and nothing goes to waste. I like my tomato press too. It's a game changer and makes harvesting seeds way easier.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, way easier. Yeah. We know Tag wants cinnamon rolls. Boy, do I ever.
With tomato powder.
No. No, you can put some cinnamon in the dough. Make
I
cinnamon bread.
haven't grown any cinnamon, bud.
You have a whole bunch of cinnamon. Oh yeah, it's extract. Never mind. Hey, Pyro Paul. He says Guten Abend. I don't know what that means. Imagine it's something like, yo, what's up?
Good evening.
Oh my focaccia with tomato powder? Is that what that says? Focaccia, did I say that right?
Focaccia. Is that focaccia?
And Dan says the starter's pretty easy to make. Everything else is leavened bread creation is a pita. Why? I don't know what that is either. Do you? We're just off to a good start today, huh?
Nope.
No.
They
Dana says focaccia.
focaccia.
That's interesting because if you
Focaccia.
look at the word
Focaccia.
focaccia, there's a cia at the end. So focaccia made sense to me, but focaccia. Got it. Focaccia. Oh yeah. Oh, sorry, right there. Oh yeah, focaccia with tomato powder. Got it. And Dan helped me to get educated and says that it means how goes. Thank you. Okay. Let's move on.
See there, you were learning all kinds.
What else
of
did you
stuff.
work on? I didn't peel any potatoes this week.
Potatoes. Potatoes? That looks like a potato to me.
What else could it be, babe?
Apples?
Did you peel
I
apples this
didn't
week?
work on apples.
Okay, so it can't be an apple.
Has to be potatoes then. Good grief. I have worked a lot on potatoes, so that's not a. I'm a little confused on what day it is on my potatoes.
We've done a little bit of them, but yeah, so she counts some potatoes.
I've canned potatoes.
Oh, look at that. Lisa says, I just got my property tax estimate. Last year it went up around 10% and I didn't contest it. They raised it about 20% this year. Sigh, I need to go contest it. Yeah, so
Somebody else I know did that exact thing. Like,
Yeah.
oh, 10%'s okay. I expect that.
yeah, mine doubled last year and I went in and bitched about it and I got $700 knocked off of it. And then with this year's raise, they're going to get right back to where they were.
More.
I didn't save anything. It was
Yeah.
all said and done.
Yeah.
Absolutely ridiculous.
Good luck.
Yep, go contest it. You go in and
You got this, Lisa.
when you go to pay, you have to go pay the taxes, and then you tell them you're paying on a protest. Then they'll schedule you a meeting with a lady or guy who does that. They'll review everything. Then pretty quick they'll send you a letter telling you what it is, what their decision is, and then if you don't like it, you can then go further and appeal it at the state level, which is what I've been told is very successful. I have not gone down that, but all good. Oh, look at that.
Yes. Do you remember how many jars there were?
Yeah, hold on. You texted it to me
I
earlier.
counted
today.
them earlier.
And you don't remember?
No. I know there were like 12 jars that didn't seal. In all.
Let me see here.
100.
167 jars. she put up.
167.
Of lots of different stuff. Well, not really. Potatoes, salsa, corn,
Relish.
ketchup, relish, right?
Mm-hmm.
What are you gonna make
Yeah.
next?
Oh, and elderberry jam. Did you say jam?
Yeah, I did. And syrup,
Yes.
right? You got elderberry jam and elderberry syrup for pancakes, which we got to do that sometime pretty quick too.
Make some pancakes.
Squatch said everyone should go back and study how they calculate the tax. Study to understand 100%. And it's not easy. It's a lot to understand, but our community does a pretty good job of it. But isn't that beautiful?
Yeah. Those are all red potatoes.
Really?
I haven't started the white potatoes
Yeah.
yet.
So the ones that look white are just peeled, but they're reds,
Correct.
right?
Yep.
Oh, this is a great
Oh,
picture.
that's today I fried up some of the white potatoes, the Kennebecs. I grabbed three of the big giant ones and cut them up and deep fat fried them in olive oil.
Made French fries.
Made French fries with my homemade ketchup.
Yeah.
Because I was sitting there with this homemade ketchup and I'm like, what goes with ketchup? French fries.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then I was like, I've got potatoes. And then I have borrowed burger.
Yeah.
The-
Well, tell them the story because we ran out of burger
yes.
and we have a cow at the butcher.
Yes.
Are they cutting them up yet? Do you know?
Yes.
They are.
Yes, because he called me yesterday to double check my
Okay.
cut order.
Anyway,
And-
one really cool thing about community
Yeah.
is a lot of times you're not necessarily forced to go buy Walmart meat, right? When you need it. So B
Mhm.
picked up the phone and called the
No, Command Hand was here.
Okay.
And she was like, I'm going to Walmart. What do we need? And we were like, we need this, we need this, we need this. And then I said, I need ground beef because I have company and I'm out and my cow is not ready to go to butcher. And she said, well, how many do you need? And I said, just get me one of those 3-packs from Sam's Club. And she goes, okay. And then she goes, well, I have ground beef. Do you want me to just bring you ground beef from my cow? And I was like, yeah, I would love to have some of your cow. And so she goes, well, when does your cow get back? And I said, not until like now, August. And she goes, because she had written a 3, and she goes, I'll just bring you 8. And she made the 3. She just did 2 circles.
Mhm.
She goes, I'll just bring you 8. And I said, oh my gosh, that would be amazing. Because then that would tide me over until we got ours back. And then I would just give her 8 pounds of my burger to her to pay her back. And then she can try my Dexter cow.
Mhm.
So it was a blessing for me to first
Yeah.
of all not have to buy it. Excuse me. Second of all, not have to buy it from a big chain store, and then to know not only is it local, homegrown, I know where it came from. I know the hands that fed it.
What I think is amazing is every single thing you see was grown here.
All at dinner.
100% was grown here.
Yeah.
Okay, from the ketchup to the fries. That's
Yep.
what I had for dinner while I was working on the live tonight.
Yep, and the barbecue sauce too, because I
Yep.
used the ketchup to make it with
Yeah.
the molasses.
Yeah.
Did you eat it?
I did. My plate's empty. Look at there. Go. How cool is that? Carrie Davis says food security, and she's referring to that picture, and that is 100% food security. Terminator, welcome in. One Step Closer says Kansas property tax formula is a lot more complicated than Texas. Down here, it's easy to figure out what they're going to steal from you.
I don't know how
Yeah.
he words that.
Yeah, and neither one of you charged the other usury. Nope. Nope, he didn't, but I promise you, I'll pay for this.
What? You'll pay for this?
Yeah, I'll pay for this meal.
No, this was delightful.
I will have to have earned it.
We already did.
Yeah.
It was a lot of work to get there.
Yeah, it was a lot of work. This picture's great.
Yeah, this
Why don't
was
you explain your way
awful.
out of this one, Miss B.
I found this in the mud room. I had all these incubators and seeds and stuff stacked in there, like just totes and totes of incubator parts and chick parts and baby chick parts. You know, because they're little waterers. And then I saw this green thing coming out the side of this crate, and I was like, well, that's weird. And I took the thing that was on the top of it off, and I'm like, oh no. They were growing through the crate that was on top of this crate. So I had to peel the potatoes off of the top crate, and then ta-da!
So now that all of your sweet
I've
potatoes
got
are pretty much ready to
two.
harvest, right?
I've got 2 crates of sweet potatoes.
Yeah, what do you do with these?
These I ended
Give
up
'em to the
taking to
animals?
the compost.
Yeah, I'll give them the animals.
I just composted them because I know that the animals go into the compost pile, so they will find them. But then also whatever's left will still remain in the compost area.
Mark Baldwin says 8 pounds for 8 pounds, not 10 pounds. Well, it's actually 1 pound for 100 pounds, meaning I got a pound of dinner for 100 pounds of carrying something or other, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
What a blessing.
Nice tan. I think it's supposed to mean nice tan. Yeah, nice tan.
Mhm.
Yeah. B gets to spend a lot of time outside.
Yeah, you should see my feet. They're bright white.
CAG, our company, walked on my property without permission and changed the smart meter to a new funny looking one. Yeah, well, they get to do that. What is going on out there? Anyway, they, at least in the United States, when you have a meter on your house, they own you give them an easement on 3 feet either side of the line all the way to your meter, and that becomes their property. They don't have to ask you permission. You know, one of the reasons I chose this piece of property is because it never had utilities on it, and so there are no easements. There's no easements granted into my property. Now there is around the edges, but none into my property.
Sorry, I didn't mean to move your chair.
Sounded like something was going on out there.
Yeah, the dog cried out, so I thought maybe something was going on, but they took off through the woods. There's no way I'm going to catch them.
Mark said, "Oh man, aching back." Yep. This is true. This is true. This is true. Found me a deal this week. So I seen an ad
Nice.
for a guy that had 9 plastic, big thick
ones.
the big thick plastic pallets, and 11 of these little thinner plastic pallets, or so $5 each or $30 for all of them. So I bought all of them and brought them home. I'm really a big fan of plastic pallets, you know, the wood ones. And for all you guys out there at Homestead, you know this. They're a 2-year deal and they're done. You know, unless you're keeping it inside the whole time. If they're outside in the weather, they're done. And so,
Especially if you're moving them around with a skid loader, because that really wrecks them.
The ones on the right are the big thick ones. The ones on the left are the thinnest ones. And not totally sure what I'm going to do with all of them. But
I'd like those little thin ones for if you could kind of cut one of the edges off, then I can put them in the barn and put my blue barrels up on top of them, like make them blue barrel width.
you know, the average of this, I paid $1.20 per pallet. So you can afford to
use 4 of them.
whatever. I mean, you can afford if you mess them up. If you break one, you're out $1.20.
Can you think you can cut those?
Oh,
Those
I promise
plastic
you.
ones?
Promise you, I cut them.
With what?
How well they hold after I cut them is the question.
Uh,
It's not cutting them. Cutting them easy. You know.
like a chainsaw?
Nah, I'd probably go out there with the grinding wheel. Just cut it. But again, that's the easy part, right? That's not the hard part at all. But anyway, pretty good deal for some plastic pallets. Anybody in my neck of the woods who needs a few, let me know. The well story.
Oh,
Oh,
the
my
well
goodness.
again.
Yeah. So guys remember?
Well,
Well, the Ronald Reagan. Wow. last week we had an issue with our well. We got it temporarily fixed.
Is he leaning on him?
I don't know what he's doing. He's being silly. So
He's like leaning on him.
no, he's down in the
Get
hole.
down in there.
Yeah, he's down in the hole. Anyway,
Don't come up.
we got it all fixed. We hopped in the shower and just did not have the amount of pressure I was used to having. And then also my pressure tank inside the house wasn't filling with water. We had water, so we knew that something wasn't right.
Yeah, because we'd fixed it the day before.
So we fixed it. So we had to go back out there, and well, we ended up finding the problem. Oh yeah, those two. But in order to fix the problem, somebody had to get down in there.
And it wasn't going to be me.
Yeah. It was funny. Indiana was over here.
Yeah.
He's such a good guy. He had the absolute most polite, congenial way ever of saying, get your ass down in the hole because I ain't doing it. Right? Like the most, it was just great. Absolutely great. Anyway, I had to climb down in there. It was cold because it's full of water. The reason I had to climb it down in there is because actually of what was broken, which is this. So this is the union right where the outlet leaves the tank. It's inside the tank and allows you to take the pump out if you have to change the pump without unburying everything.
And this is because of the weight of the pump?
Well, what happens is those, here, let me get back to this. What happens is those pumps are long and thin. And when they start, when they're pumping water, they twist. There's torque on them.
Oh.
And so they kind of bounce each time. And the well people that put in my well use Schedule 40 PVC. So over 6 years, it had just broken the elbow. And I don't know if we didn't catch that union was plastic or when one was broke, or if it broke after we fixed it. But again, that if you go back to that and put it back up there. Right there. You can see the crack in it. Right? That's why you were losing pressure.
Yeah.
That's why it wasn't filling the tank. Proctor says, why is it plastic? That's what they used. I paid to have my well put in, so I can't tell you anything other than that. So, well, we've definitely fixed it differently. Now, the union that went back in, it's much bigger, much stronger. And then we used a flexible pipe instead of a Schedule 40 pipe, which was solid. So if you can imagine that all being glued together, be with PVC,
Yeah.
and then it twisting, wanting to twist all the time.
Yeah.
You know, because of that torque when that pump kicks on. And so eventually this is what it did to it. But the good news is that we did get it fixed.
You think with that flexible pipe, it'll twist in there then?
No, because it isn't that flexible. It's only, but what it will do is it'll absorb a little bit of it.
Yeah.
It'll give some movement in there instead of just being rigid in it,
Stopping.
you know, and it
Hard
trying
end
to,
view.
trying to do that all the time. But I also figured out some other problems with my well system that I'm gonna have to fix. So my well, I mean, that's all fine. But because my well only does 2.5 gallons a minute, I pump it into a cistern, and the cistern then holds the water that I pump to the house. So my well has 2 pumps in it, one in the well and one in the cistern. But my cistern seems to be underground there, seems to be really changing shape a lot. And so I think I'm going to have to go to a concrete tank or something like that. So I'm going to get working on devising a plan to either, so plan A would be to put concrete cisterns in right next to where that one is, plumb it all up, don't miss a beat. The other idea is to move the water storage indoors into the house, because then if there's ever an issue, I'm right there.
You won't ever get groundwater.
And nothing will ever run in it. Right.
Intrusion.
Right. I mean, there's just some big advantages to doing it that way.
We're getting groundwater intrusion.
Indiana says it was a deflection issue more than a plastic issue. Concerned friend says, hello, Life Done Free family. I'm back in the good old USSA. It has its many flaws, but way better than elsewhere, especially with Tag and B. Ah, thank you. Yep. Do you know if the pump is a 2 or 3 wire, meaning capacitor is in the pump or up top? Assume it's 240 volt. Yeah, there you go, Indiana. The 2 wire slow start. Yeah.
That's how he knows.
Yeah, fluorescent. What's that mean? Man, they got to give me all these words today. You have to tell me what that means too. Oh. Anyway, I'm glad. I didn't really like getting down in the hole much. I scraped my arm up.
What was the name of the pump?
I don't Yeah, it's a good brand. I just don't remember what the name is. But yeah, Deanna says it's 240. Yeah, we hadn't had any. What's crazy about it, we didn't have any problems with it till that one moment. I mean, that's how it always is. You have no
Yeah.
problems till you do.
Until there's a problem.
Yeah, but that definitely. Oh, ferro cement, I think is what he meant. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm going to do a little studying on it, but one of the things we're definitely going to upgrade in our infrastructure projects would be the well and how all that stuff works, because that's a big deal for us. And you know, it's funny when we first started, we had a 750 gallon tank, and we would shower outside because that's what we had. And eventually, I plumbed that same 750 gallon tank into the toilet, so we finally had a flushing toilet. But it was minimal, right? I mean, it was not. It takes 3 or 4 minutes to fill it. But hey, it was a flushing toilet. How exciting! How exciting was that? And now,
you're not hauling.
Yeah,
Stuff.
yeah. And Mike says, "Rundefos is the name of the pump." But then you start growing, and then today we've got 13,000 gallons of rainwater storage in a well, and I'm just going to upgrade that system. And again, I think one of the best things we can be doing in this world, especially the way the world is today, is continually investing in our infrastructure. You know, making it better, more durable, longer lasting, all of those kinds of things. If you have one well, get another one. If you have, 10,000 gallons of rainwater storage, you know what's better is 12. And you just keep building it. But Dan says, ferro cement is what I want to make my cistern out of. Okay. So good news is we're back up and running. We've had no problem since, right? Well, I guess that's not true. The next day, when I got up, I didn't have water. I didn't have any. But what I figured out was somewhere in the process on the pressure switch. If you guys know, the pressure switch has these two little things that, come on and come off. Well, anyway, there was a contact that kind of fell off in there. And so we shut the power off and I snapped it back on. It took like 2 seconds.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, then everything was fine. But
and he's like, I got another pressure switch. I've got another one. And then he's like, wait, I think I can fix this one.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, that would be fantastic.
And
he got it fixed.
And since I've already bought a new pressure switch, I have a spare sitting on the shelf.
Hallelujah.
Which is pretty good, right? Okay.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
What do you have going on,
These
B?
are little tiny turkeys found in the yard.
Tell them the story.
When I went over to the community building to drop some stuff off, I'd seen the mom and heard her little noises and ran over to where she was and thought I had seen 3 little turkeys, and I got my shirt all tucked ready to grab them, and there were 7 little babies. So I snagged 6 of them. I left her 1, and then I put the rest in the incubator with not incubator, with the hot plate.
Yeah, so just in case there's somebody out there that don't know, why would you take the babies from the mom?
Right, we're experiencing rains for 3-4 days and chilly weather, and usually when that happens,
they die.
They don't keep track of they don't, especially that many. So I left her with 1 so that she can keep track of it, and I left her with the brightest looking one too, the whitest one, so that it's easy to see in the grass. That way she can keep track of it. And then we have a higher success rate when we bring them in and raise them and then put them back out when they're a little bit hardier, especially the turkeys. Well, and guineas now, because the guineas are pretty delicate, I guess.
Yeah, have you seen those babies since I seen them that day?
No.
Yeah.
I haven't seen any other babies. These are the only natural babies, other than the one that I hit with the lawnmower. Ones.
Yeah, B is a bird killer.
That was.
Let's see here. Hey, Wolf, welcome in. Says, this is the first time I have seen your wall color in natural light. It is beautiful. Do you remember the name and the brand? Yeah, the brand was Home Depot and the name was Oops Paint.
Probably.
Yeah, this is my office. This is my office. I ain't getting anything.
Nothing special.
No, just whatever I found at the. So I have no idea what the color of the name was.
It was a single gallon.
Yeah, Mike says everyone with a well should have a spare pressure switch on the shelf. So are a cheap insurance policy. Spares, yeah, spares are. I've got another spare pump too, but I don't have another spare identical pump, which I'd love to have.
Probably should.
I was walking. I was at. I think it was at the house, and we have a community member that works at Tractor Supply, and they called me and said, "Hey, we've got a bunch of pumps that they've got at 75% off. If you're interested," I said, "I'll be right there." So I got my truck and I drove down there and I bought some deep well pumps on clearance.
Oh, just different brands.
Yeah, well, that's the Country Line, the brand that's in Tractor Supply. But I figured for compare it to one of them other pumps, 10 cents on the dollar, I could afford to have it sitting on the shelf in case I ever needed one, you know. But anyway, I have no idea why you sent me this.
Oh, look at that. So this dill was right outside the door.
Mm-hmm.
There are at least 50 larvae.
Oh, there's caterpillars on
there. Yeah.
I didn't
these
see
a
that.
swallowtail?
Okay, I see it.
And they're so all the way down to just the tiniest little ones. It was covered. This is the only green dill left up there.
Mm.
So it was covered in these caterpillars.
Whisper Creek says, I lost 3 Keats. There was a fan in the room, and I think they got too cold.
Oh.
Yeah, that's rough.
Oh, those Keats were older too, weren't they?
Mm.
These are the kittens that need another home. And one has eye issues already.
These are the rescue cats.
Yeah.
Man, she keeps trying to get me to take them. She always gets mad at me.
Yeah, every single.
You have such a big farm. Why can't you just take all the cats? Because I don't want a bunch of mouths to feed. That's why.
There's been a lot.
You know? No.
I mean, I think she last go round had like almost 30 that she caught. I think it was like 28 or something.
Grace says, sounds like my kind of paint. I make my own colors from Oops Paint. People always ask me what the names of the colors are. Yeah, I got no idea.
I've never thought to make your own. I've never thought to mix them together.
Yeah. Yeah, usually that works pretty good with earth tone colors. You know, like you find a gray and a tan or stuff like that are all earth tone. I think they mix really, really well. But yeah, Grace says cats multiply like rabbits. Yeah, I do not want a whole bunch of cats on the farm. I wouldn't mind 1 or 2, but
Well, they'd have to be fixed for sure.
But I just no way. No way. No, thank you. Hey, I wanted to share this picture too. The first picture. This picture comes from Grace, Gratitude Grace on the live. We sent them home with some comfrey, and that's her comfrey plant.
Oh my goodness, already?
Yeah, look at that.
Wow. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, that means it likes it there.
Yeah, whatever you did, wherever you put it, don't move it.
That means soon it's going to be
A
20
bush.
times that size.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be a place for your animals to hide shortly.
Oh yeah, you'll have, baby nests of all the birds.
Yeah.
But you can cut it down and use it for all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, Hack says, come on, Tag, I got a few more kittens for you. No. No, this is no.
Hax, do you need a different bloodline down there? We can get you these cats.
Yeah, we got some cats for you, Mrs. Hax. That way you get to get a new bloodline, right? Yeah, that sounds like a great idea.
Change it up.
That looks like it was planted in Tennessee soil. Great for comfrey.
Mm.
Yeah, and I don't know why you sent me that other picture.
Oh, it was the same.
The same caterpillars?
It was, yeah, but the cows are in the background. So there's chickens and dogs and cows all right there.
Grace says, I have 6 like that. I am so excited. I have plans. Good for you. Good for you. I think that's great. Now, normally I would say at this point, if you want any more, let me know, but you won't need any more because you'll be able to break these apart at will, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you'll never need to buy them ever again, especially if they do it all like that, and they will get big. Packrat says, the habitat restores have interior Oops Paint more often than exterior grade. I think a lot of people have caught on to the mix it all together paint jobs. Yeah, I like that. Hey, Mandy from Permatopia Farms. How are you? Welcome in. All right. You want to tell this story?
Yeah, this was found in the yard. I'm not sure whose it is. Back in behind your shop, I was back there mowing, and just the last 3 inches of that blade were sticking out of the earth. The rest of it was buried down in the ground.
Mm. So
So
we don't know
I'm not
whose it
sure
is.
whose it is.
Where'd you find it?
Behind your shop, by those windows,
I wonder if somebody must have been walking back there and dropped it. 'Cause
or
that's
they
not
just
mine.
set them right there on the windows, and they
Yeah.
did something, and then it fell off. And
Yeah, we ought to
what
try.
does that say? SOG.
Yeah, it's the brand name. We ought to try to clean it up and see if we can get it to work good.
I couldn't. It was stuck out. It's stuck out.
Hmm.
Oh yeah, this is cool. Why don't you tell about this?
Yeah. So, you guys know last week we were talking about how they're doing a movie of the movie, they do a movie of the book. 1 second after. William Forstchen wrote the book, sold 1 million copies. Any of you guys who've never read it, at least get it on audiobook. It's about an EMP. But anyway, they filmed it. It's got some pretty good names in it. They're on the final cut from the movie, and the premiere is in September, which I will attend. And what I'm working on really, really hard is I'm trying to get EMP to sponsor the whole production of the movie. And I'm still kind of in negotiation phases with them, but I will keep you guys posted on it. But I'm going to try to be the official sponsor of 1 second after.
That would be so
assuming
cool.
I can pull it off. Well, I can't promise you anything because
Yeah.
you know how that works, but I
Yes.
can tell you this, that you will never get if you don't swing. I can promise you that's true, and it's true 100% of the time.
Yes.
So
keep them in your prayers.
yeah, it'll be pretty neat.
Yeah.
We'll be able to do some stuff. You know, EMP Shield's making Faraday bags now, so we'll be able to do some stuff with the traditional EMP Shield plus the Faraday bags. So that ought to be pretty interesting.
How wonderful.
Yeah, Packrat says knife doesn't look too far gone. Leave it to soak in WD-40 or gasoline. Try to fold it again in a couple months. Yeah, I agree.
Gasoline.
Yeah, it's just good for getting all that stuff out of there. I have, you don't know this because you don't pay attention to that stuff, but if you go out in my shop right now, on the counter, there's a big gulp cup. It's not from Big Gulp, it's a thicker one, but it's full of diesel fuel. And
For what?
so
To stick stuff in?
every time I find a pair of pliers in the back of your Kubota that's rusted shut, that's what I do with them.
Oh, I have a couple of
I
pairs.
throw them down in there, and then in a month or two, I can work them back again. So, but anyway, so this is very, very exciting. I'm trying to figure out exactly what I want to do. I may give some giveaways if someone wants to go to New York and watch the premiere with me. Some tickets.
Oh?
I may.
Like get a posse?
Yeah, just, have some fun with that.
That would be pretty cool.
Yeah, I may do that.
That would be really cool.
Yeah, we'll see. I've got some content creators that I know of in different places. I may maybe offer, to them. But
In New York City.
Yep. I don't really want to go to New York City, but I do want to go to the casting premiere, which is where all the cast will all be in New York City. So that'll be pretty neat. But again, we'll see how it goes. But it will be cool. Don't forget we have the Freesteading app. I would encourage you guys to go check it out if you haven't. I would love to get that thing up and running again, but the challenge is, in order to do that, it takes you.
Takes people.
Yeah.
I need to
Hermatopian's
get
phone.
back on there.
Is B not going with you? I would like to see her in a beautiful gown. Yeah, what's funny is, as soon as I found out, I looked at B. She was down at the community building. And I think it was one of the community members said, why don't you take B with you? And I said, look at B. I said, B, you want to go to New York? What'd you say?
I said, no way, Jose.
Yeah. B don't want to leave the farm, Mandy.
I got a cow to take care of.
Amongst a lot of other things.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, Packrat says, diesel, that'll work. Every shop needs a soak bucket. Yep.
A soak bucket.
Well, what's cool about it, and for those of you guys who don't know, you could take a very rusted pair of anything and throw it down into a bucket full of diesel fuel or oil or gas or whatever, and it'll square it away. It'll take a while.
That's good to
It's
know.
not quick, but it will.
That's good to
Mandy
know.
says, "Wow, EMP sponsoring the movie, that'd be so awesome." It would be. Let's just see if I can afford it, and we'll kind of go at it from there. September 26th. Don't forget we have our second ever Harvest Festival. We're gonna be doing some things a little bit different this time. I'm hoping that this weekend. Dan says Coca-Cola will do it too. And it's funny. I totally thought about the news that's with Coke right now, Anyway, yeah, it's Coca-Cola removed rust too. Anyway, I'm hoping maybe by Saturday I will know some more information. Hint, hint. The beautiful Louise Wesley.
Sunday.
Yep, hacks.
Sunday. Because Sunday we have a luncheon that I think they'll be at,
yeah,
right?
But Saturday night we have a community meeting.
Oh, right. I did remember that.
No, clearly. That's why you said Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Yeah,
Guess we'll see you guys Saturday and Sunday.
Mark says the harvest is near. Yeah, we're full blown into harvest. It's here now. Yeah, it's there's a lot going on. I think I can confirm Pat Miletich is coming out. He's going to work with.
Oh.
Yep, they're going to do an MMA training class. They talked to him last week and he confirmed. And then he'll come out to the festival and he'll talk about Soil from Soil Savers. You know, if you guys know, he's the owner, one of the founders of Soil Savers. So we'll get him out, be able to hang out. I'm just looking forward to hanging out with him. But I'm sure the MMA classes will be cool and all that kind of stuff too. So.
Are you going to take the MMA class?
Probably not.
Get your karate on?
I don't know what the day is. I don't know.
Oh, but we got so many people at that time. It's hard to pull away too.
Yeah. Tomorrow is Mr. I don't know what that is.
Hax's birthday?
Maybe. Angry Pepper could give you a tour of New York City. Well, actually, you know, it's an interesting thing about Angry Pepper. I've never met him. He is a follower of my channel. Oh. And so I thought about maybe reaching out to him and seeing if he wanted to come to the premiere with me. But
go hang out.
Yeah. Hey, Skanes, welcome in.
Howdy.
Yeah. So I guess we'll find out, but I'll keep you guys again posted. Don't get too excited about it yet, but because, you know, shit happens along the way, right? So what else? What did I not cover from your week, babe? We're processing. You got baby turkeys. Got a beef coming back. Oh, back to Pat Miletich. I want to tell you guys something funny. Now, I can say this because I know he doesn't watch my lives, my oldest son. He's trying to run a business and trying to do all of that stuff. And so I was thinking about asking Pat if he could do me the favor of, because my son's business is going to sponsor the Pat event. The MMA class, yeah. So Cade will go there and he'll be standing there on the sidelines. I wonder if I could talk Pat into purposefully singling him out of the audience to come be a sparring partner with Pat. And, you know, whoop on him a little bit. That'd be great stuff. And what great memories. How many of you in the audience could raise your hand and say you had your ass beat by UFC's 5-time heavyweight champion and UFC Hall of Famer Pat Miletich? Yes.
Would you want that?
Yes.
People, yes. Nowadays, they're going to record it. It's going to be on the internet.
Mrs. Hack says, tomorrow is Hack's B-Day. We're going to KC to celebrate. See you Sunday. Okay.
Oh.
Mr. Hack's
they're going to go get Greek.
Yeah, hey, nothing wrong with that. Yeah, Mark says that would be awesome. Yeah, I think it'd be awesome too, and it would create quite the memory, and it would give him some really cool marketing opportunities, you know, to make little, you know, clips of, you know, getting customers these days are hard, and show a picture of him with a black eye. I mean, I think that would be funny, you know. So, anyway, let's see here. It's an honor to roll with the Hall of Fame. That's what I think, right? If you want it, you should show up and step up to Pat. Yeah, no.
He's like, I don't want it.
I gained nothing but getting hurt from it. Oh, Pat wasn't a heavyweight. What was he? Yeah, correct me. Maybe he wasn't heavyweight. Middleweight, maybe? Anyway. I think, Redneck, it would be funny to have him pick on Cade. That's what I think. And I think I could get him to do that probably. And
I don't think you should pick on him.
I think I should. That's what dads are for. Yeah? Okay.
Be nice.
What do you guys think of the audience? Do you think I should pick on my boy?
No.
No? I think I should. Anyway, should we get some good news?
Do you have any?
Yeah. You got anything else before we get there?
No.
Let's see here. He says he walks around about 200 outside the octagon. I don't know what that is as far as what class that is, though.
200 pounds.
Yeah, and Mark said, yes, you should pick on your son. See? It's a dad thing. It's absolutely a dad thing. Yeah. I wonder if any of my other kids would do it. We have another kid who's got some jujitsu experience. Not a lot. That'd be funny.
Nobody wants to go get beat up.
Mark Baldwin says 205 is a light heavy. Oh, okay. Yeah. I think that yeah. Mandy says what doesn't kill him will make him stronger. See, this is what I think too. And again, I think you could just have a lot of fun with it from a marketing perspective. You know, lots of social media posts, and I mean, who can advertise them getting their butts kicked?
Are you going to ask him?
I don't know. I haven't made a decision. I'm just debating it in my head. That's all. I was wanting to know what these fine folks in the audience thought. I may ask him. I may not. It may just be a big surprise to him.
I don't think you should do that.
Well, I think I should. Let's see here. Conserve Friend says, part 1 happens down on the farm. Part 2, good news. Yep. I tried to talk Kip into going and wrestling, but he said he's getting old. He doesn't heal as quick as he used to. I agree with that 100%. So that today, guys, we could talk a little bit, start out by talking a little bit about the world. As you guys know, the world's an absolute crazy place. And although I don't think the world's colliding in some big world war is the most probable event, I mean, but it's certainly, in the realm of possibilities out there. But there's a lot of rhetoric that's going back and forth across the globe. Chinese President Xi Jinping, in the world we live in, 2 countries are dangerous as the plague, the United States and Israel. And if the world is to be saved from the Third World War, Israel and the United States must be stripped of their nuclear weapons. That's pretty strong talk, right? The Chinese Communist Party has also flown Democratic Socialists of America members to China. So parties, there's the Democratic Socialist Party in America is taking trips to China. Isn't this the stuff we used to read about with our grandparents? The big Red Scare and all that stuff. Now, I don't know if you guys know much about the Democrat Socialist Party, but, Hitler, when he came to power as the Democrat Socialist Party. And you would think they'd at least pick a better name, but apparently not. Trump's secret Friday meeting, the meeting they don't want you to know about. President Trump is walking into a closed-door State Department showdown with top mining executives on Friday. This meeting would decide if China can flip a switch and crash America's entire tech and defense dominance overnight. The goal, despite the last-ditch push to ramp up U.S. and allied critical mineral production, slash our total dependency on China, and maybe even slap in price floors and stop Beijing from flooding the markets. I don't think what they're talking about here is mining coal and gold. They're talking about all the rare earth elements to make, microchips and things like that. Here, Nito says, the installer made it here and installed the replacement inverter, still having issues. Installer needs to come back and be on the phone with Lion to walk him through fixing the communication issue. Ugh.
That makes sense, though.
Yeah, it's just...
We've always had to do that after a change.
Yep. Yeah, anyway.
Too bad they didn't do it on the first day, though.
Yep. China also has recently been buying up numerous ports across Europe, but why? What are they trying to do this time? So they've been investing, but it's not just Europe. I've covered this in my lives before. There's a bunch of ports in South America, too. And big ones down by the Panama Canal. In fact, there's a lot of people who argue that China now controls the Panama Canal. Trump will tell you that's not true, but there is some information to suggest that maybe it might be. China had plans to take over America by 2049 and exterminate the white man through designer viruses that target Slavic DNA. They sped up their agenda in 2020 with the help of Venezuela when they stole the election for Biden. They were planning to send all conservative patriots to camps and all liberals to safe housing by 2030. They were not expecting Trump to come back in 2024. This post is as serious as a heart attack, says David Rodriguez. And China now accounts for 28% of global manufacturing, up from just 6% in 2000. You guys think that China's always made everything. That's not necessarily true, And this is world, manufacturing. So in the world, in 2020, they produced 6% of the goods, and today they're producing 28. And I'm going to tell you, you guys, why America, one of the main reasons America won World War II?
Because we didn't get our stuff from other people.
Because of our manufacturing capacity.
Yeah.
because of how we could manufacture. I don't know why it would be buffering. Is it still buffering? My end looks fine. I don't see any light. You got anything? If you guys can hear me, tell me. Yep, see. Oh, there we are. That's weird. On my end, it didn't do anything. No buffering, no nothing. I'm glad I'm back, though. What was I talking about? Oh, yeah, so a bunch of Marines boarded a Iranian vessel that had left China. They found materials in it to make ballistic missiles. Remember how last week I was telling you guys that China is supplying, Russia is supplying weapons to Iran. Ukraine is bombing Iran. All this world stuff that's super interconnected. Well, this week Fox News reported that that actually happened. So I think that that's another sign that a lot of those things. Yeah, let's see here. Oh, Packrat says you're mentioning China, and then what?
And then there you go.
Yeah, I hope everybody can hear me okay. Anyway, so I think there's plenty of evidence that many countries are at war today, and we're just not being told about it in our mainstream media. It just isn't covering it. Shift in global power. China sends message to the U.S. China has signaled that the world is evolving beyond a single dominant power, and that new alliances and partnerships continue to grow across multiple regions. With more countries pursuing independent strategies and alternative systems, the global balance appears to be shifting towards a more multipolar order. Interesting how the words they use right there. Because if they had said a new world order, everyone would have said it's a conspiracy. The U.S. remains highly influential, but the conversation around global leadership is clearly changing. What do you think? Is the world moving away from U.S. dominance? I would tell you that it is. And I'm going to give you lots of examples of that. North Korea just deployed 120 ballistic missiles, 4 strikes on the Ukraine. So 120 ballistic missiles to the Russians. Right, North Korea said, we don't care, we have lots of missiles. Russia asked for help, and we're delivering. Russia stationed them in Western Russia, every missile aimed at Ukraine. Ukraine confirmed by our intelligence, North Korean unit with 120 ballistic missiles is now deployed to the Russian soil. 40 KN-23 and KN-24s are already there. More are incoming. Russia says this changes everything. For context, North Korea has deployed a whole missile system to the region in Russia. Let's see here. Conservative friends, it seems like they're trying to run our munitions dry. I didn't put it in the live, but did you see how one of the reporters on Fox News actually reported live how many interceptors America had left? Now, how would she even know? I don't know. Right. But she reported it, and I'm like, if that was true information, you should be in prison for treason. I mean, you know how many soldiers that will get killed?
Yeah.
Like, that's bad stuff. Bad stuff. Hey, Freesteader, what's going on? Let's see what else. North Korea, the U.S. speaks of peace, yet aids those wreaking havoc in the Middle East. We warn you, abandon your military aggression against Iran or witness the total eradication of your presence in Asia and beyond. The U.S. then responded, the U.S. will never seek permission from any arbitrary regime to defend freedom. Kim, keep talking. The free world isn't listening. So would you say they're all friends?
No.
You wouldn't say that? Okay.
Would you say they're friends?
Mm-hmm.
I must misunderstood.
Dan Redding says, prison, hang the traitors. Yeah, you're getting a bunch of soldiers killed. That is all bad. Well, let's see. Iran are heavily fortifying underground strongholds. They cannot be destroyed, says the country of Iran. The U.S. replies, they remain indestructible only until Washington approves target packages. We don't just bust bunkers. We turn our entire mountain ranges into craters. That's a threat of a nuclear weapon, in my opinion. So could it be that we're actually beginning to threat, even on a small scale, a tactical nuke, versus a full-blown nuke? But it seems to me that we're certainly saying those things. Health Ranger says tactical nukes are about to be green lit. Hope you're ready for the radioactive fallout. They're going to be used here, referring again to
Eek.
Yeah, right. The general breaking, the Pentagon is preparing for a major nuclear war strategy that could reshape decades of U.S. nuclear doctrine by elevating the use of tactical nuclear weapons, signaling a major shift in U.S. military planning. So a tactical nuke is a smaller nuke, and the reason why I put all three of those kind of together is because Trump hints at it, right? Health Ranger talks of it's happening, and then news out of the Pentagon is that they're adapting our nuclear policy. Operational security info should always be kept private. Yes, it should. It risks a lot of people's lives. Trump threatens Iran with tremendous attack, biggest since World War II. Also very interesting clue, right? What made the attacks of World War II so big? Do you know? Hiroshima, Nagasaki, right? The atomic bombs.
Yeah.
Right? I mean that was how big the bombs were in World War II. And his quote is, Trump threatens Iran with tremendous attack, biggest since World War II, if they don't open the Strait of Hormuz. That means nukes, folks.
Nukes.
He didn't say that part. We're saying that part. But Trump vows to arrest leakers who exposed missile shortage and publicly clashes with Hegseth. Yeah, I think there's a lot of things I don't like about Trump. There's some things I do like about Trump. But if someone is out there printing or sharing classified information that we use to protect our soldiers and those kind of things, they should absolutely be prosecuted, hung, whatever you want to do with them. But I do think it's absolutely worth noting that they're threatening the biggest since World War II. And you guys all know what happened in World War II and what was the biggest then, right? Russia's cutting off the flow of oil to Germany via the Soviet-era pipeline. This move by the Russian is seen as a countermeasure against Germany's ban on Russian crude oil. Putin takes revenge. Putin says we're giving Elon Musk 48 hours to explain why Starlink is now interfering with our strategic operations. Do not test our patience. Elon Musk replies, bro, I can literally disable your country's entire GPS system from my iPhone while sitting on the toilet. You think they're getting along yet?
No.
Oh, okay.
I don't think the ideas back and forth are either.
No. Russia just officially beat the U.S. in the crypto race. Russian President Putin officially signs Russia's version of the Clarity Act. Russia has vowed to create a payment system infrastructure away from the dollar using advanced blockchain solutions. Putin has also called Western financial system outdated. Russian foreign minister said that they are looking for a neutral digital asset that can settle all currencies, including the U.S. dollar, but one that's not controlled by any party. On-chain data also reported that Chinese and Russian investors were fleeing to tokenized assets and commodities on decentralized exchanges. That's really big. There's a lot in there, but if people are moving out of currencies and moving into commodities, which I'd rather be in a commodity than a currency anyway, they're buying assets. And if they're buying assets, folks, you should be buying assets, right? I mean, remember Jim Carrey driving down the road saying, give me a sign, and he drives by that truck with a whole bunch of signs, and then fails to listen. Yeah. Iran's hypersonic missiles targeted an Israeli cabinet security meeting in Tel Aviv. More than 10 Israeli Defense Force generals responsible for planning attacks against the Iranian leader Khamenei have now been killed. So apparently they took out a chunk of the Israeli leadership. Hey, Amy B, what's going on? Are we sleepwalking into a much bigger war, they ask. The signs are mounting. Fighter jets have now been deployed. Long-range bombers are positioned. Tens of thousands of U.S. troops are in theater. Blood supplies have been moved into Europe. I asked Alex Newman whether we're talking about weeks or months before major escalation. His answer was sobering. Thousands of Iraqi Kurds have just launched a ground invasion into Iran. So apparently a whole bunch of Kurds are pushing into Iran in a ground offensive. What I find, I don't even know if it's so much interesting, but you guys watch any movies, what do they do in the Romans? What's a good Gladiator? It's a great example. In the beginning, what they do, they sent all the hordes in first, let them get all massacred, and then came in behind them. It's kind of like this, wash, rinse, repeat, kind of thing. Real wealth is an asset, not a fiat currency. I'd rather have copper and silver than a fiat dollar. Let's see here. This comes just a day after reports the CIA was arming the Kurds for this type of operation. This is big. Stay connected for more. updates, and this was reported by Fox News, which does not make it true. So I decided I would just have some fun, and so I asked Copilot AI, show me what World War III map would look like if everybody had to pick a side. Okay, that was my question to it. But what was interesting is it would not give that to me.
Oh.
So what it would say is likely what would happen and who would sit in and who would sit out. But this particular map I find interesting in that it has basically 5 different movements, 5 different teams, basically: NATO, the Eastern Coalition, the Islamic Union, the Indo-Pacific Union, and the non-aligned movement. And you can see them by their colors. The blue is NATO, the red is the Eastern Coalition, the kind of the green would be the Islamic Union, the yellow would be the Indo-Pacific Union, and the purple is the non-aligned. I then asked it to tell me how many active duty troops were in some of these countries and how many Muslim immigrants are currently in the countries. I thought that would be an interesting thing to read. So the United States, the Muslim immigrants are at 4.5 million, and we have 1.4 million active duty troops. France has 6.5 million Muslim immigrants to 270,000 military personnel. Germany has 5.5 million Muslim immigrants to 184,000 military personnel. UK has 4.5 million Muslim immigrants and 145,000 military personnel. Italy has 3 million Muslim immigrants and 165,000 military personnel. And Canada has 2 million Muslim immigrants and 68,000 in their military. NATO military personnel, if you combine all of NATO, will be 4.5 million. And if you add up those immigrant numbers, they're 31 million. So the reason I wanted to look this up was, there's always been a lot of talk about them sending, military age males, right, into, and not just into America, but all over Europe. Anywhere that you see is blue, right? Anywhere into that NATO alliance. If you read any news headlines about where all of the immigration problems are, this is it. They're all the blue countries. You don't really read about them in very many other places, beyond that. And so I just thought it was an interesting twist that there's 31 million on one side against 4.5 million total military numbers in those 3. So I continued to be curious because, that's how I am. And so I thought I'd ask Grok the same exact question.
Okay.
And this is what they said. This was created by Grok. Now, they did a little bit better job, which here they have 2 sides, NATO and the China-Russia alliance. So I found it interesting that one broke it up into 5 teams, and this one really broke it up into 3, NATO, China-Russia alliance, and then neutral non-aligned. And what I find, I kind of doubt this map a lot, because if you look, I'm not 100% sure Canada would come to our aid. I'm not 100% sure Spain would, right? Spain, we've been walking away from NATO for a while, right? The NATO general, I guess I got to slide on that later, but NATO's in a complete mess. We're pulling out all over the place. So would that really look like that? Saudi Arabia has signed pacts with the BRICS nations, so would they be involved in that? I don't know. What do you think? Let's see here. Never let a standing usurped army into your country of military-aged people that hate your way of life. Yeah, I have so much. There's so much I think about that, Mark. I've got some slides a little bit later about immigration. And for me, it's a hard thing. It's hard to believe in liberty and freedom and then single out one type of person. Those things are very contradictory. But yeah, Gratitude Grace says this looks like 10 years ago. Yes, it does. It looks like the Cold War era. But I built this today. I asked them this question today. Now, guys, what I promise you, what AI gives you is what it's fed.
Right.
Right. You can't put any weight into it. But, basically what it said is total mobilization. The blues would be 18 million and the reds would be 20 million. And that would be that. But Mark Baldwin said, I'm all for immigration legally. I am too. Let's see here. Breaking New World Order. The U.S. moves to withdraw 100,000 troops for Europe and halt trillions in defense spending. And this is kind of what I was talking about in the maps, is America seems to be walking away from NATO in pretty much every single aspect. They're criticized at, some of our longest allies in England and France and, a lot of the Germany and a lot of these places. A historic turning point, the U.S. signals a massive troop withdrawal from Europe and the halt of trillions of dollars of spending, forcing a global rethink of alliances and a strategic balance. And if you guys remember what I talked about earlier with China, China was talking about this exact thing, that it's time for the world to rebuild, and rethink these global alliances and who's on what side. So that kind of lined up really, really well. And that was a message from Marco Rubio. I kind of think that it's not so much a threat of World War III as it's more of a threat against nationalism versus the New World Order. It's this, there's a few countries out there that want to remain a country and be sovereign. And then there's a whole bunch of other ones that just want to throw it all in and let's just have a one world government. And it's the World Economic Forum, the UN, the World Health Organizations, the European Union, the deep state here in America looking for, some kind of global dominance. And then you got nationalists behind the scenes saying, I don't think so. And then in the mix of all of that, you have the religious battle between Islam and Christianity going on, mostly in the Western parts of the world. Dan says eventually Islam will take over as a religion of the beast and will only fall when Jesus returns. Yeah, Whisper Creek says, not everyone believes in freedom, and no matter how strongly you believe in it, you can't assume they do too. I know. That's why I said I struggle with it, Whisper Creek, because I can make an argument both ways. And a decent argument, right? For all kinds of that. In a bombshell announcement, UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres has issued a dire warning. The United Nations is on the brink of total collapse. If the United States, which contributes approximately $2.2 billion to the regular budget alone, does not give to the UN. So the United Nations is saying that without the $2.2 billion deposit by the United States, that the UN will collapse. Much of the world is losing faith, according to Foreign Affairs, in the United States' ability to serve as a leader of a liberal international order. It's so crazy that they worded it like this. And these new reservations, deeper than those of the past, may prove hard to reverse. I want to say that again. Much of the world is losing faith in the United States' ability to serve as the leader of a liberal international order. Right? And I would say that's absolutely true. I mean, Trump's not pulling it closer to being a liberal international order, right? Mark said there's nothing wrong with a Muslim, and sinking religion out violates the First Amendment of the Constitution. It's the standard army part that is the problem when our population becomes so apathetic. Yeah, 100%, because, the Constitution says, and there's big fights going on. Again, I'll talk about this tonight, but there's big fights going on, about whether they can build mosques and, and these kind of things. But, yeah, I'll have a lot to say about that here in a little bit. Let's see here. I'll just move along. We talk a lot about them creating divide, and we're starting to see a lot of that, kind of step up in Spain and in other places. But now the young people of Italy are turning fascist in the face of the invasion. Do you agree or disagree with these actions? In Spain, an activist leader, Isabel, gathered many Patriot men extremists in front of the Moroccan embassy in Madrid, where she performed the fascist salute. So she gave the Heil Hitler salute. But again, I think I could spend a lot of time just on this topic alone. Is this, go back to World War II, how many of these same types of things that were going on that made the German people say, hey, we got to look out for our own? Right? What starts as something, you don't know where it ends. And I think it's crazy that we're actively seeing, specifically in Spain, people, activist leaders out there giving that, that same salute. And our country's going to start looking to within, look to protect their own race, right? To protect their own. I mean, I could see, people of Spain or people of Italy saying, hey, we want to protect the, Italian bloodline. That makes sense to me. I mean, are you proud to be Mongolian? I'm proud to be German. I mean, no, not really.
No, not really.
Let's see here. There are people who want a global catastrophe. Alec Newman issues one of the starkest warnings yet. He argues the world is entering an extremely dangerous period with escalating tensions between nuclear powers and decisions being made that could have consequences far beyond today's conflicts. Conservative Friend says it is rumored that Trump, our military, told NATO that they would have to defend themselves. We would be busy against China. NATO against Russia. You should read the book because they hate.
Do you have that?
I don't think so. This is what I was talking about earlier about, people starting to kind of stand up and our world kind of being turned upside down by all of this. But supporters and opponents of a mosque approval vote get physical at a city council meeting in McKinney, Texas. I watched a lot of these videos of the people speaking in the audience. Yeah, Nito says, sure looks like a repeat, rhymes at least. See, that's what I think too. And, part of the New World Order would be to divide us up, right? I mean, they've been trying to have black people and white people hate each other for so long. Maybe they gave up on it and now they want it to be Muslims. But I am curious about something. I can give you guys many examples of a black person on TV standing up and say, hey, let's stop letting them divide us. Let's get together. And, we're all the same people. And there's many of those out there. And I salute that. But I don't see any videos of Muslim people standing up saying, stop the violence. So if somebody can find one of those, please send it to me.
Their book tells them to kill non.
Okay, well, if okay, one second though, that it's hard for me to believe that you can label a whole bunch of people that way, babe. Because I promise you, there are Muslims out there who just want to go and live, raise their family, and be left alone and do their thing. But I kind of start losing faith in some of that as I start to look for these Muslim communities, those things, to start standing up and saying, hey guys, let's work together. Let's, I don't see a lot of that out there.
Have you seen even one?
No, I have not.
I wonder if it's because their Bible tells them not to.
Yeah. So hundreds of people got together and went to this town hall meeting, and there was story after story after story of people coming up saying they don't want this, et cetera, et cetera. I copied one of the speeches, or at least a sentence out of one of the speeches, of a Muslim man advocating for the mosque. And he told everyone, he went to this meeting in Texas, and he told the audience, said, you're wasting your time here because the U.S. Constitution already decided that we can build our mosque here. He's right. He's 100% right. There's you have the freedom of religion in our First Amendment.
Yeah.
So, it gets to be pretty, muddied right there, right? Because in order to follow the Constitution, we have to have freedom of religion. Where does that line cross? And does innocent blood get shed? Because at some point you got to pick a side. I don't know.
Well, I think that if you're not a citizen of the country, then you don't get a whole lot of rights. So your right to freedom shouldn't trump my right to freedom if you're not here legally.
Right. Now, see, there's a super valid point there. But I don't think that that whole rush of all this and all these mosques are a bunch of illegal immigrants that are here. Probably lots of them are here legally.
I don't know.
So would you feel different then? If they were here legally? Does it change anything for you? Because it still is. I mean, they
have the right to freedom if they are here legally.
In McKinney, Texas, where this is, there's a mosque in there that you guys go online right now. You can see lots of them of the people in the mosque chanting "Death to America." Right, and there's many videos about how they're the way they're going to take over America. Again, I have a hard time believing that it represents all of them, and it's more likely that what we're seeing is an extreme side of it, which is what the news points out to keep everybody in fear, so we keep spending money. Right, it's that same cycle of keeping us all divided. But this one I have a super hard time with. Also, so this place was packed, and almost every single person in there said, "We don't want it. We don't want it. We don't want it." And the McKinney, Texas council voted 7-0 to approve. Just so you guys know. 7-0. Whisper Creek says, if you were a moderate Muslim and the jihad began, who would you side with? See, I don't know. That's I mean, if I was a Christian and the Crusades began, does that mean I'm going to go jump on a horse? Whisper Creek? Right? Because I think that same argument could be made on the other side. The line is when you infringe upon someone else's rights. Yeah, and I think that's a great place to be on, and So where is that line? You know? Dan says Islam's not really religion, though. It's a political philosophy disguised ASA in religion. Doesn't the law of the land take precedence? Well, the law of the land says you have the freedom of religion. Right? That's the law of the land. So much to do. I just got here. Love runs rampant. Welcome in. I'll watch the replay. Good to see you. Look what's happening in England. Yeah, this brings up a good point. You know, I think they probably hid behind something like what I was just saying. You know, the Constitution says.
Yeah.
The Constitution says, and then they wake up and, 64% of their police officers and they're trying to change religions and customs. Guys, if they were all coming here and assimilating to our country, I'd have no issue. We'd go. But the more and more this stuff goes on, the more and more I fear that we're going to be put in this horrible position where we all going to have to pick a side, which I really don't want to do.
Yeah.
I want to be on the side of humans. But this is also happening in other places. Hundreds of North Carolinians stormed a town council meeting to protest a proposed 5,000 square foot mosque, which is pretty small, by the way, in Mooresville, North Carolina, that they were not told about. Multiple women got up to say that Islam was an evil ideology and personally say no to Sharia law. But again, it's happening everywhere. Where is it? Whisper Creek says in Christianity and Islam have different codes of behavior. Christianity says you must choose God freely. Islam says convert or die. Yep. And Mark Baldwin says killing for religion has nothing to do with God. Let's see here. J.D. Vance exposes that El Said, who, if you guys know who that is, that's the winner of the primaries in Michigan. And Michigan is so fascinating. You guys remember in the news, it wasn't very long ago, when they were talking about how just the legal gun owners in the state of Michigan, this was back, I think, during the Gulf War, was like the 7th or 8th largest army in the world,
Wow.
In Michigan. And so anyway, the Democrat Socialist Party of America member, and his name was El Said, he's a Muslim, got elected on the Democratic ticket. So now he'll run for the governor of Michigan up there. And J.D. Vance was talking about they outspent him 9-1. So they spent 9 times the money on the opposite side, and he was still elected. Vance says he poses as a working class hero by flooding the state with low wage immigrants and fighting the Trump tariffs that saved Michigan auto jobs. Where did he actually win? Wealthy white liberals and new immigrants, not the working class. That's the modern day Democratic coalition. Self-hating elites, people who just got here, zero real working class support, just resentment and debt. So there's going to be a gigantic push right here, and this will be interesting to see what happens. We'll be following it along. But it's just crazy to me that a place like Michigan, or like what's going on in Texas, shit. Everything's bigger in Texas. Texas is the one place you don't want to go commit a crime because you're going to end up on death row, and there they'll kill you. Right?
Right.
I mean, so it just kind of blows me away. Terrifying footage from Dearborn, Michigan right now. Muslims are going all in, flooding the polls in massive numbers for their Muslim brother, Abdul El Said, which is, again, won the Democratic primary. Women fully covered head to toe, under Sharia law, lines packed, zero hesitation, pure block voting. How would you feel if you walked up to your voting booth and that's what you walked into?
Yeah.
Would you be intimidated?
Probably.
Probably. Let's see here. Pete says, again, goes back to law. If any group is practicing their beliefs that break the law of the land, such as state, city, county, then there's a problem. Yeah, but see, that's kind of the problem right there is I don't know. I mean, I guess just keep allowing them to, first of all, they're out producing us 7-1, right? And so we should just say, hey, as long as you follow the laws, no worries. And then what? And then
they're
they get
20-1.
Yeah, it's 20-1, and then you wake up, and because their law says that
To kill you.
No, that says women are cattle, right, or whatever.
Yeah.
A very perplexing case for me. They literally said it out loud, and Abdul El Said, supporter, just admitted the encouraging thing is that people are stupid. This politics of no translation will be the way forward. Abdul El Said and Hassan Piker sat there and nodded. This is their entire strategy. Hide the racial agenda, speak in code, count on Michigan voters being too dumb to notice. They don't respect you. They don't fear you. They think you're stupid. Oh, sorry, you're right, Nito. So he's running for Senate, not governor. That's correct, Senate. They all know all of the rules, so they can break them properly. Then the Constitution is the base. Anything else gets kicked out. Let's see here. Senator Katie Britt just dropped the truth bomb after the Muslim socialist Abdul El Saeed won the Michigan state primary. The fact is, this man could win an election, and absolutely unbelievable. The Democratic Socialist of America movement has shown us that they do nothing but hate America. No ICE, no police, no jails. Essentially do away with the government. Actually, something I could kind of get aboard with. They're infiltrating from within. This is not a drill. This is a wake-up call. Nick Shirley, I said Benny Johnson today asked Nick Shirley why so many military-age Muslim men are storming the shores of the West. His answer stunned me. They want Islam to be everywhere. That's why they're coming to our countries. There's no assimilation. They don't learn the language, and this has been happening for years and years in Europe. It's a religious war. I never understand why we let strangers come to our home and turn everything upside down. Yeah, you know, Mandy, I often wonder how much what we see in the news is what's actually happening. You know, I'm not suggesting that it's not, because I wasn't there, but I do think it's we have to be careful as a people too. Because we have to understand that the New World Order in their playbook is to divide everybody, right? So we have to have that in our heads at the same time. But at the same time, I want to protect my race. I want to protect, you know, the Midwestern values. I mean, I want to protect redneckism.
Well, do you see a bunch of military-aged men flooding your area?
Not a bunch, some. You know, but here where we live, you know, most of that immigrant flooding is Guatemalans and Mexicans and, you know, people from South America. You know, I don't know. Don't know. I'm gonna, where are we at? 142. Yeah, I'm gonna skip that. I will just point you out to those pictures on the bottom. Those are pictures going on in Dearborn, Michigan, and also in Times Square, New York, where they have to stop 5 times a day to let them pray. And in Michigan, they've outlawed church bells because they can't be louder than the 5 prayers that they do every single day. So, to me, freedom of religion would mean everybody. And Squatchy, this would be a good stance you could take on. Is, wait a second, you're not infringing upon their rights.
Yeah.
You know, and the problem is that's not really how the laws are leaning. They're leaning more and more towards favoring that, and less towards objectivity. CNN openly encourages and celebrating this takeover. Okay, I'm going to skip that real quick too. So you know, what was 2.7 million? I don't remember what that was. Anyway, Minneapolis police tips on how to avoid. They were talking about some of the crime problems. Says don't walk alone. Only carry items you need. Be prepared to give up your cell phone, purse, or wallet. Don't fight with the criminal. Be prepared to describe the suspects. This is the advice given to you by Fox News and Minneapolis police, and this is the worst advice ever. Because as soon as you do that, as soon as you hand them your wallet, it encourages them and empowers them to do it again. Right? When you stand your ground and you get in a fist fight, whatever ends up happening, in my opinion, that's what stops these things. You know, I've watched many of videos of, you know, how all of it goes down, and it's usually 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 criminals trying to jump on somebody. It's never one-on-one. And why is that? Well, because they're a coward. Again, if laws are applied equally, it's okay. But just like here in Massachusetts, new Massachusetts bill would give preference to Muslim applicants for state jobs. Right? So again, that
is crazy.
Yeah. And then what's going to happen when you put a whole bunch of people who believe in Islam in positions to make decisions? They will make decisions based on Islam. No different than if you put a whole bunch of people that believe in Christianity, right? Yeah. Those are the values that are going to drive, you know, their decisions. No different than the Supreme Court deal in Kansas. You know, we fought on it, but now it's going to be appointed by lawyers. So our Supreme Court will be appointed by lawyers. Those lawyers who appoint them have their own political agenda. Then those judges will have their own political agenda because they were bought and paid for by Planned Parenthood or whatever, you know, whatever it is in there. So it's the same thing. And this, I think, is some of the dangers. Laura Loomer, I don't know if, I'm sure everybody knows who she is, wrote this, which I thought was just crazy. Says, one day you're going to wake up and there will be dozens, if not hundreds of communities surrounded by Islamic military-aged men who are all armed. They will simultaneously carry out October 7th style attacks in American communities, and there won't be enough law enforcement to respond. Thousands of Americans will die. It will be a hostage situation, and when it happens, it will already be too late to stop what comes next. I want all of my followers to buy ammo, to buy weapons, and to protect themselves from the jihad that is going to be unleashed on the U.S. If you can afford to, build a safe room in your home. When Islamic communists take over the House and the Senate and they abolish the police and abolish ICE and DHS, we won't have anyone to help us. These policies are largely being pushed by communist candidates in preparation for a war they plan to declare on non-Muslim Americans. If you don't prepare for this, you and your children will probably be slaughtered. I think about this every single day, and I just want to be known, because my entire career people have called me crazy for saying things like this. But I want this to be on the record so that when it does happen, people realize I was trying to warn the public to save Americans from what our bleak future holds. War is going to be attacked by Islamic militants, and nobody will come to save us. It's up to Americans to prepare. These people are going to come after you and your children, and anyone who says otherwise is setting you up to be conquered. History shows up what happens when jihadists gain political control. I just hope Americans prepare. I know what the future holds, and it won't be pretty for our country. At this point in time, I'm convinced the Republicans are going to allow Americans to be slaughtered. Additionally, I would encourage all of my followers to form neighborhood watch groups and keep tabs on your local mosques and Islamic centers in a peaceful manner. I think these places need to be surveilled by citizens 24/7 since our government's afraid to do it. It's not a crime to have a citizen watch group report suspicious behavior. Biggest thing I took out of that is she's saying, go build community. Right?
Yeah.
And I think that perspective is super, super good. David says, vote harder. Yeah, David, I don't know if you've watched the whole live tonight. We talked about this just a little bit earlier. I have no problem with the argument voting doesn't matter at the federal level and really at the state level, but I can tell you, David, with 100% certainty that voting at the local level in your local counties has an impact, because we do it all the time. And this is why I know that. Mark says, Muslims have large families. We murder our babies because we've been told a lie. We are on pace for there to be more baby murders than births. We have to cut out, breed them to retain the land. We have to outbreed them to retain the land. Squadgy says, ultimately, we all in trouble to a certain degree. Nito said, the liberals are using the Muslims to push their agenda. However, Muslims are using them to take control, and then they will turn on them. Yes, they will. Dave said I hadn't. And he said he agreed locally. Yeah. We covered it in the beginning of the live, David. I'm a big fan of do what we can right here local, because even if we can't have long-term impact, we can certainly have Band-Aid impact. Right?
Yeah.
With lots of little things that we can do to set us up and our community here, which, again, what Laura Loomer was talking about is, I would encourage all my followers to form neighborhood watch groups. I think that's an absolute great deal.
Get to know your neighbors.
David says, aren't all wars bankers' wars? Yeah, it's all fought over profit, greed, and money and power and commodities, and, we don't have the good old day anymore where it's just fought over because they don't like each other. Let's see here. Marco Rubio officially announced that anyone who dares to criticize Israel will not be granted a visa into the United States. So, and he went on further to talk about how they will access, if someone's applying for a visa in America, they're going to ask for access to their social media accounts. Crazy.
That is crazy.
Yeah, right.
Social media.
Right. Babe, social media is the social credit score.
I guess.
People don't realize it's been here for years and years and years. Social media is your social credit score. We spent, Stephen Miller said, we spent decades fighting a Cold War with the Soviet Union. I choose my words correctly, but I'm going to say this tonight. The Cold War has come home, and it's here in America. So now communism is another thing apparently we have to worry about. And guys, again, there's a large part of me, this is just all fear. and get back to what you're doing and build more infrastructure.
Well,
Go get
don't
your well.
stop what you're
You
doing.
don't
that
stop what
for
you're
sure.
doing. Right. Right. Do what you can where you're at while you're there. Yep. Oh, sorry, you guys are talking amongst each other. Let's see here. Yeah, I'm going to skip that one because we're running out of time. Is there any good ones in here? Oh, some of these are crazy. Senator Hawley uncovers Kroger grocery store chains had 62 pages of data on one customer. They were selling their own customer data, makes up over $500 million for them. Selling the customer's data represents 1/3 of their entire income.
Wow.
A grocery store chain.
And that's Kroger.
Yeah, so their biggest profitable item is the data of the customer. When you guys get these little shopper cards, get rid of them.
Yeah.
Get rid of them. They're not doing you any favors. Yes, they offer you a penny off this and 10 cents off that. Absolutely get rid of them. I literally gasped watching this. American bought a cheap phone, hired someone to use it in a poor neighborhood, and visited places acting like they had no money. After a day, apps on the phone had cheaper prices than a normal person's price. Dynamic pricing is real, and we are being robbed blind. Phones are collecting data and using that data to charge people different prices. And this is going on everywhere. This guy, if you watch the video further on, he went and showed his phone and this track phone doing the exact same thing. And on average, the prices were 11% cheaper for the people with track phones.
Mm.
You know, maybe
Get rid of your cell plan.
or just buy a track phone and take it shopping with you. But I don't think it's just the track phone. It's where you visit. It's what part of town you're in. Are you in an affluent
It's
part of town?
all of it.
Yeah, I mean, you yourself have said, "What? That's weird. The Walmart in Topeka is $2, and here it's $3."
Yeah.
Right? That's dynamic pricing. David says, "We've been fighting fires up here in the Pacific Northwest. Getting community informed is challenging. Yeah, getting them motivated, right, and getting them disciplined. Informing them is probably the easy part." G-Dog, how you doing? Said world religions, Christianity 32%, Islam 24%, Hinduism 15%, Buddhism 7%, non-religious 16%, Jewish people 0.02. Yeah, so maybe that saying that is that's perfectly fine, and those numbers work out fine, and Islam pretty quick will catch Christianity because again, just birth rates. But I don't know. Mark says the tech is going in the shopping carts as well. I seen that, and it's more than just a plastic card. Yep. And dynamic pricing. Yeah, I think I had some of those stories in here in honor of Mr. Mark Baldwin. Josh Hawley also exposes Walmart's creeping shopping cart patent. It tracks your heartbeat. So Walmart has a patent on a device that goes in a shopping cart. Walmart has patented a shopping cart that uses sensors to track how fast you're pushing the cart, your heart rate, your body temperature. All of that data gets sent to a server in real time for analysis. This isn't a joke or theory, it's an actual patent. Expert warned this kind of biometric tracking can be used for surveillance pricing, raising prices on you in your moment based on how stressed or willing to spend you appear. Your shopping cart becomes a monitoring device, your body becomes the product. Isn't that crazy?
No, thank you.
Coca-Cola, did you see they're in a whole bunch of trouble? Because you can buy personalized Coca-Cola cans, and you can put, earlier this week, they've changed it now, but earlier this week, you could put in there Allah is king, you could put in there the devil is king, you could put in there a lot of things, but you could not put Jesus is king or God is king. It wouldn't allow you to personalize your can. Now, Coke has got a whole bunch of heat. They say, I did not test it tonight, but they said that they have changed it. But yeah, isn't that lovely? Just that reason alone. Even the crazy thing is, even if I was a non-believer, and you guys know I struggle with my faith, just simply not allowing everybody to do it equally is enough for me never to buy another Coke again.
Well, you don't really buy Coke anyway.
I don't, but that message was actually put in here for one of my friends who drinks a lot of Coke.
Yeah.
Wingstop locations are beginning to go cashless in America. All locations have already gone cashless in UK and Canada, and Wingstop says they will go to a complete cashless process right here in America. If you go to a Wingstop, shame on you. That's all I can say.
Wingstop.
Shame on you. If things don't change, Social Security would become insolvent between 2032 and 2034. The worker to beneficiary ratio has dramatically changed. In 1945, and these are important numbers. In 1945, there were 42 workers per beneficiary. So 42 people worked, one rode in the cart, right? 42 people pulled the cart, one person was in the cart. In 1960s, 5 people were pulling the cart for every one that was in the cart. Today, there's 2.7 workers per beneficiary, meaning for every 2.7 workers pulling the cart, there's one person riding in the cart. What can be done? All right, gradually raising the retirement age to reflect longer life expectancies. That's a horrible idea. Right now, we already are at a point now where you work your whole life to retire at 60. Yeah, well, 62, 65, and 67. At almost 70 years old, the average lifespan is what, 76 years old. Mm-hmm. So you work your whole life so you can live 6 years, and the worst 6 years of your life probably because you're old.
Yeah, health issues.
Yeah, and you don't have the same ambition. You don't have the same.
Yeah.
Right, you've gotten old. This is completely a dumb idea. Right. David says Coke is a degreaser. Coca-Cola owns several water labels: Dasani, Glacier, Body Armor, and more. Yep, quit buying them. We have to vote with our dollar, right, and try our best to starve the beast. I agree. I 100% agree. By the time I'm 67, over $600,000 will be paid into Social Security on my behalf. That money would have been worth $1.9 million if I had gotten a 5% return. My annual interest would pay me $95,000 a year. But what the government promises me is $3,075 a month at 67, which is $37,000 a year. So basically, people who pay into Social Security their whole life get about 30% of it back.
Yeah.
There's many comments out there that talk about the boomers being to blame for all of this, right? Boomers have known, and here's a comment right here that I took right off of it. Boomers have known for 42 years that Social Security was going to run out, and they have done nothing, right? It's their fault. Social Security's impending bankruptcy is 100% the seniors' fault. They must bear 100% of the burden. Younger Americans shouldn't have to pay a single dollar more in taxes to subsidize seniors' insanity and recklessness.
Oh, that recklessness.
It's that is a crock. These people, and maybe it's because I'm getting older. I've already maxed out Social Security, so I paid in and paid in and paid in and paid in, and what I get is 30% of what I paid in, and somebody else gets 66%. How's that fair? 66 cents on every dollar that I paid into Social Security would be paid to someone I did not other than me. Think about that.
Right.
And yet it's Gen X's fault and the boomers' fault. And
thank goodness it's there.
Yeah. Yeah, David says vote with your dollar. Squatchy said you coined a tag, starve the beast. It should be a journey for sure. Retirement was originally designed to be a short-term event similar to hospice. It was to allow you a few months to spend with loved ones before you die. Yeah. So you work your whole life for a system that will just piss you away. They could care nothing about you. Under this, Amy B, thank you for this comment. Under this theory, you should just skate by and do the very minimal you can and live your life the best, travel all you can, hang out with your family all you can. This would be absolutely no motivation whatsoever to work hard. None of it. And if you invested that yourself, it would be worth multiple millions of dollars if you invested wisely. Yep, 100%. Home sales have now hit their lowest level since 2009. It's already worse than 2008 and 2009 in some housing metrics, and almost no one is talking about it. Existing home sales have collapsed 35% from their peak, a technical demand crash. And this is happening before unemployment rises, before forced selling, and before real distress. The pressure is quietly building beneath the surface. The real pain hasn't even started yet. Developing story: more than 1 in 10 homeowners in Colorado are now underwater. That's not surprising that it's hitting Colorado the hardest, right? At least not to me. What else is going on? The income needed to buy a typical U.S. home has increased 79% in just 6 years. So if you want to buy a home, the income you need to has gone up 79%. Is this reckless, boomer behavior, reckless Generation X behavior? Or is this the mass printing of dollars from our federal government and the mass borrowing of dollars from the federal government? America's biggest home builders are slashing prices. Lennar has reduced its average selling price from $511,000 to $377,000, a near 25% decline. Dr. Horton has cut from $415 to $366, a 12% decline. 4 years ago, this would have been hard to imagine. Grace says the work beneficial ratio is just about to match the birth rate. Yep, 1.6, yeah. I was told my whole life in alcohol. Oh, that's not alcohol. In a school. I was told my whole life in school I would have to pay into Social Security, but I would never see the return. Yeah. Managing expectations, right, Sharpshooter? Let's see here. It is what we get for counting on Uncle Sam to take care of us in our old age. 100%.
Right.
Yeah, good
Jeez.
job to get into a home remodeling because people can't afford to move. Gratitude to Grace says, pray for us. Our neighbor mentioned a friend who may want to buy our home. It's not listed, but this would be a blessing. Amen. Yeah. Let's send all your prayer warriors out there. Let's send some great vibes to Grace that they get their house sold. G-Dog said, the money in the inflated stock market has to come from somewhere. Why not credit card debt and lower home values? The money in the inflated stock market has to come from somewhere. Credit card debt makes sense, but lowered home values doesn't make sense to me. The average home buyer is now 49. Oh my goodness. What happened with the assisted living homes of 2020 to 2022, I believe, was an attempted to reduce the number of Social Security recipients. Yeah, it is devaluing a fiat currency by quantitative easing. I'm gonna, there's lots of more information here that talks about the economy's really kind of pooping out. Honest lumber, by the way, is trading at a record low. Just so you guys know, non-farm payrolls was 23,000. So basically we lost, you know how the unemployment rate went up. This, if you look, this is from January, gained 180, lost 156, gained 214. This is in the thousands, gained 148. Then they said we gained about that same amount, but they just this month they revised it down to 63. Then they revised it down to 20, and now they're saying in July we lost 23,000 jobs. The economy does not look like it's doing great. Virginia DeVort said, evening all. You see JP Morgan is deploying $750 billion into housing. I did not see that, but you know, are they trying to keep it all propped up? It's too big to fail, right? What I found interesting is that this was the track of unemployment, and look what the stock market did today. The Dow's up 151, the NASDAQ 342, and the S&P 547. What do they know that we don't? All right, I was going to keep doing this, but we're about out of time, so I'm going to skip all of this, and I want to share something else with you guys real quick. This one right here. Do you guys know that they confirmed a new CDC director? Her name is Erica Schwartz. Erica is very pro vaccine. She says the mRNA vaccine is safe and effective. She says mandating it for the troops makes sense. This is her in July advocating support for vaccine mandates for military personnel in certain circumstances, somewhat contradicting Pete Hegseth's announcement. And just as soon as they do that, the FDA has approved the first mRNA-based influenza vaccine developed by Moderna. So there's the new flu vaccine that's out is an mRNA vaccine, and they are really going to push all of our seniors to get it. Health Ranger says, I'm putting this on record right now. If you take the new mRNA flu shot that was just approved by the FDA, you may not only die, but before that happens, you'd likely be shedding protein toxins all over the people around you, like a vaccine fallout. Horrible. So I don't know about you guys, but with the shenanigans that were pulled with COVID, there is zero chance I'm going to be getting a flu shot.
Well, you never got a flu shot in the first place.
I've never gotten them, and nor will I. But if I ever wanted one,
It is not now.
That is not going to happen. Yep, zero chance. Not a medical doctor. Do what makes you right. Support you either way. I ain't doing it.
Yep.
Tag,
You
is
need
there
to go to
any
the
way
doctor,
to
though.
post your slide deck, even the ones you skip over? I, for one, don't have TV and tune in here for real news. Could probably email it to you. You want me to email it to you, Amy? Let me know. I bet I could do that. Let me see here. I'm going to load this real quick here.
Amy.
Yeah, I'm not sure which one of these is you.
You've got several Amy's on here.
Yeah. Anyway, if you send me an email, I'll reply and I'll attach it to you. How's that sound? I think that'd be a good idea. Tim Riley, thanks for the article. Well, guys, there was plenty more to cover, but it's 2 hours and 6 minutes. So I'm already late, and so we can't be doing that. But B, you got anything you want to get us out of here tonight? We'll live, fight another day. Is it in your book?
No. Grow with something you can eat.
Yeah,
Grow
I think.
what you like.
How about lessen your dependency?
Mm.
Build a community. Build that neighborhood watch. Right?
Like that.
Even if it starts slow, you don't have to start walking right in and saying, hey, let's store food. You can say, hey, if something was to happen, how would we talk to each other?
Right.
And how can we protect the community? Maybe we should practice a neighborhood watch once a month and just kind of drive around, I mean, try to go build something, because I think this is going to become more and more important as we go forward. Guys, I'm going to tell you, cities, if you take the cities, the counties, the states, and the federal government, they're $131 trillion in debt. They're not saving their way out of this. So they're going to take it all from you until there's nothing left to take, and hope that what you do is beg them to find a solution. And that's, unfortunately, is how the game is played. So be prepared. I'm going to get out of here. Be out.
Go be free.
Yep. Be out.
Be out.
Tag out. See you. Good night, everybody.
Good night.